Yeah, that picture I know everyone's sending to me. They're like, "Yo, you look like you're like 200 pounds," because I ain't that skinny. I don't know. It must have been the angle or the shirt because that was on me.
Play action. Looking. Third option. End zone. Caught! Gronkowski!
There are a ton of NFL players who have dramatically changed their bodies during and after their playing days. Sometimes they change them for the better and sometimes for the worse. This player was criticized for getting too skinny, but it still won him a Super Bowl trophy. Or this player who was on the verge of literal death until he made some diet and lifestyle changes and became a lot healthier. Or a troubled NFL star who had been out of the game for 5 seasons, got sober, then put on a ton of pure muscle weight to become a fierce pass rusher once again. Who are some of these guys who had the biggest body transitions, and also how did they do it? Let's find out. Before we get to the content, take a moment to subscribe, turn on our notifications, and sack the like button for the YouTube algorithm. If you want to suggest additional videos like this that you'd like to see us make, feel free to hit us in the comment section or tweet it out to us or comment on our Instagram page. Now that we got all that out of the way, break! Originally, Rob Gronkowski was actually retired. However, that retirement was fairly short-lived. As a matter of fact, Rob Gronkowski only was retired for 1 year before his old buddy, the GOAT Tom Brady, convinced him to sign with his brand new team in Rob Gronkowski's favorite state of Florida. And the rest is recent history as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers went on to win this past season's Super Bowl. However, the 1 year that Rob Gronkowski retired, a lot of changes were made to not only how Rob Gronkowski looks, but how Rob Gronkowski approaches his diet. Because the 1 year that he was retired, he dropped a ton of weight and was lighter than he had been as a teenager. However, of course, whenever a superstar of Rob Gronkowski's stature happens to lose weight, critics and the local media are going to pick him apart. And that, my friends, they did. Because not only did Rob Gronkowski lose some body fat, he lost a significant amount of muscle as well. You see, this is New England Patriots Rob Gronkowski right in front of you. He's 260 pounds plus, arguably the greatest tight end in NFL history. However, he is extremely injury prone. After the 2018 season, he announced that his body needed to heal, and thus he would retire. He said this in a very teary-eyed press conference.
To my fans, I needed to recover. I was not in a good place. Football was bringing me down.
Rob Gronkowski would then go on to become 20 pounds lighter than he was in his playing days. Losing the weight did wonders to help heal his joints and actually made his clothes fit even better, even if he is more of a t-shirt, cargo shorts, and flip-flops kind of guy. So how did Rob Gronkowski lose so much weight so quickly? Well, Rob Gronkowski opened up about his weight loss to the Business Insider and said, "I always say more of a strict diet and also doing exercise too, but more of a strict diet definitely helped out to lose it, and intermittent fasting. That definitely helped shave off some weight, big time." This is where things get very impressive because most people make the mistake of jumping into intermittent fasting and immediately just deciding not to eat for whole days at a time or doing one meal a day. It's good that Rob Gronkowski elected to build up to this because that is what keeps intermittent fasting sustainable. And this is coming from a guy that does intermittent fasting himself. There's more on my Instagram page if you guys are interested in that. Rob Gronkowski's leaning up phase actually started before he officially announced his retirement, but then it would go into warp speed in 2019. A few years ago, he took his own quarterback Tom Brady's success in hosting an unbulky body type and attempted to emulate that. copying the GOAT and how he's been able to keep longevity for the entirety of his career might be a good decision, because he told the Boston Herald in 2017 about trying to lean up, saying just looking at Tom, what he does every day, what he eats, talking to him personally one-on-one, just learning about the body with him and seeing how flexible he is, how pliable he is, how loose he is all the time, every day and ready to go, that is what motivates me. However, when Tom Brady came calling for Gronk in the offseason and kindly asked Gronk to get off of his retirement party boat and sign with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers so he could again be on the receiving end of Brady's touchdown passes, Gronk let everyone know that he was indeed healthy, announcing on Instagram that I said from the beginning that I wouldn't come back to the game unless I'm feeling it, feeling healthy and feeling ready to play. Taking a year off was hands down the best decision I made, not just in my career, but also for my health and well-being, and I would do that all over again. After he had assured us that he was good health-wise, Gronk had to quickly pack the weight back on and start looking more like a NFL tight end and not a Calvin Klein underwear model. Gronkowski started pounding the protein shakes, and before he knew it, was back to 257 whopping pounds just before the season started. Now, he would continue to bulk up in the summer too, packing on another 10 to 12 pounds just before the 2020 kickoff to be back matching the size he was when he scored 79 touchdowns in his 9 seasons with the Patriots. However, Gronk said that he was never actually that skinny, as in too skinny, as in super meme skinny. Rob Gronkowski said,
Oh, yes. I'm actually down to 250 right now. I have definitely lost some weight, and I've been 260 since I was 18 years old, from 260 to like 270. So I just always wanted to see what it feels like, just to get down, just to feel light, feel loose, and just feel clear.
The comeback was deemed successful. Gronk had 7 touchdowns and 623 yards on 45 receptions during the 2020 season, including a very important touchdown reception in the Super Bowl. The question is, what will 2021 Gronk look like? Now, this next player would have had some very serious health implications if he had stayed at his playing weight after retirement. Nicknamed the Big O, with a playing weight of 320 to 340 pounds and a 6'6" height, this second-round pick out of the University of Miami started 39 of 51 games at both tackle and guard for the Miami Hurricanes. He would then attend the 2011 NFL Combine in Indianapolis and ran a 5.11 40-yard time while recording a 28.5 vertical and bench pressed 225 pounds 26 times. Pretty impressive for a lineman. In his second year in the league, he started all of the Denver Broncos games in 2012 as right guard and even helped them to a Super Bowl, which ended up being a loss to the Seattle Seahawks. Then, that big boy, all 340 pounds of him, served on the offensive line and continued to protect quarterbacks for 7 seasons before retiring in 2018. Orlando Franklin, a starter in 80 NFL games, went through an amazing dramatic transformation during retirement. He has lost nearly 90 pounds since he hung up his football cleats. How did he do it? Franklin spent a lot more time on his treadmill at home and a lot less time eating post-game feasts at restaurants, opting to make himself a nice skirt steak at home instead. Orlando Franklin can afford the healthiest food. Thanks to Rosenhaus as his agent, he earned nearly $25 million during his NFL career. Also, Orlando Franklin went even further and stopped drinking alcohol as well. You know, one of the evils of all sugars and carbs. Orlando Franklin recently discussed his weight loss journey. Orlando also spoke about how he started doing a specific, very common weight loss activity, one that he never even tried while competing as a professional athlete multiple years in Denver, Colorado. Franklin said that he takes advantage of the beautiful Colorado landscape and now is a regular outdoorsy hiker. He had never even set foot on a Colorado hiking trail, one of the most popular recreational activities for those living in the state. before he retired from football. On 104.3 The Fan, a Denver sports radio station that he serves as a morning host, he would go on to say, "I found a way to do things where I can see Colorado burn a ton of calories, but meet new and good people as well.
I want people to look at me and say, man, if Orlando could do it, I can do it." Stopped at the gift shop and literally saw a book that said 50 hikes in Colorado. And it was all over the state. And I was like, man, I want to do this. I really want to do this. This is how I'm going to learn more about Colorado. This is how I'm going to get to do more outdoor stuff.
Orlando Franklin currently has set a personal goal to hike 5 14ers. That's what experienced hikers nickname 14,000-foot mountains, and he plans to do all of this in 2021. If he's able to pull this off, then he may quickly get to 100 pounds lower than his playing weight was. Now, if you think that's crazy, wait until you get a load of this, because Jay Glazer has been known to get all kinds of athletes into shape at his West Hollywood gym. For one NFL player, when he was attempting a comeback, Glazer's facility helped this former number 7 overall draft pick, who had not played in 5 NFL seasons, to quickly put on 27 pounds of pure muscle. With Glazer's help, this NFL star was able to play in nearly 75% of the snap counts and sack opposing quarterbacks 5 times, although he had to first shake the 5-year rust off of his 31-year-old body. He set an NFL record for 33.5 sacks during his first 2 years in the league, and if you guys don't know who I was talking about this entire time as I was vaguely describing this remarkable individual, I was talking about Aldon Smith. Aldon Smith has had a ton of off-the-field issues throughout his career that derailed his path significantly. The Aldon Smith crime timeline is just sad, and bear with me, it is a lot. In January of 2012, he was arrested on a DUI suspicion in Miami Beach, and in June 2012, he is stabbed twice while breaking up a party near his home in San Jose, California. Charges would follow. In September of 2013, Smith is in a single car accident and arrested on DUI and marijuana possession suspicion. He would then enter rehab, and the San Francisco 49ers would place him on an indefinite leave. He had a lot of rope during this time because, well, Aldon Smith was pretty freaking good. The next month, he would get charged with 3 felony counts of assault weapon possession from the 2012 house party fight. In April 2014, Aldon Smith is arrested for making a false bomb threat at LAX. He doesn't play in 2014 as he is suspended from the NFL. That July, he would get sentenced to 24 days in jail, 235 hours of community service, and numerous fines. On August 7, 2015, Smith is arrested for an alcohol-related driving case, a hit and run, and vandalism. 9 games into the 2015 NFL season, Smith is suspended 1 year for violating the league's substance abuse policy. On February 13, 2017, Aldon Smith is investigated for a possible domestic incident. Then in March, he is detained for public intoxication as passenger in a vehicle after his girlfriend is arrested for a DUI. Then in June 2019, he was arrested near his hometown of Raytown, Missouri, on yet another DUI suspicion, which in most cases would be the ultimate end of any professional athlete's career. But believe it or not, this story has a happy ending. And this DUI, I guess, is probably the happiest of DUIs for Aldon Smith, because this was the true turning point for Aldon Smith. After another public humiliation, Aldon Smith finally realized that he needed to make a change in his life. He told David Hellman, a Cowboys writer, in May of 2020 that for me, like with most people, I think if anyone really wants to change, it comes from within. And so I got to a point where I was fed up with how I was living my life, and I knew I needed to change if I wanted to be something and get back a hold of my life. Pleading his case that he was now sober, the league also reinstated Smith, and his journey to become a dominant defensive threat began once again. The Dallas Cowboys, who are known for giving players a second, third, or in this instance, a 6th chance, signed a brand new, extremely fit Aldon Smith to a 1-year, $4 million deal. At the time, Aldon Smith was 285 pounds. They saw the potential, and that Aldon Smith officially turned his beer belly into a 6-pack. He had been working out in hopes of quickly transforming his body back to when he was a quarterback-chasing menace. That, along with others, deemed his transformation a success. Such a success that he was now so strong that he actually destroyed equipment during his workouts. Glazer actually saw this incident, and this is what he had to say about it. "We trained him at unbreakable performance and got him up from 260 pounds to 287 pounds. He completely got rocked up, solid as can be, very low body fat. He has trained his butt off and his conditioning is great. He's just freaking monstrous. We had him on these resistance cords connected to the wall on a machine called the Raptor. I've had a ton of guys on it. Big, huge guys, monsters, and Smith ripped it off of the wall. No one has ever done that. He is an absolute freak of nature." It looks like Glazer was also a good influence in helping Smith stay clean as well. Glazer himself, who has been sober over a year, seemed to be the best person for Aldon Smith to train with, as Smith was able to stay out of trouble during the offseason and this entire 2020 NFL season. It didn't take long for people to realize that Aldon Smith did a great job of packing on the muscle and training for a comeback. At the Dallas Cowboys 2020 training camp, Dak Prescott said of Aldon Smith,
"He's a man. He's a monster. Damn sure doesn't look like he hadn't played in 5 years. Doesn't play like it. Energy would never tell you that. Very fortunate to have him. Very fortunate to have him on my team and not rushing me. He's going to make all of us better. He's a great player."
Smith was adamant to let people know that he had changed, not just physically, but also was determined to be a changed man for good. He told a Dallas Cowboys reporter, "I'm not trying to become a better person. I am becoming a better person. And with the help of the people in my life, the people that have reached out, and with me just wanting what's better for myself, that's been able to happen. The journey to being a better person isn't just so I could get back and play football." Smith may not have reached the 14 sack mark that he had 5 seasons prior, but he did take down quarterbacks 5 times and made 31 tackles in 2020. Perhaps if the Cowboys defense could have been better as a whole, he could have possibly put up some more impressive stats. The question is, will the Dallas Cowboys bring Aldon Smith back in 2021?